Okay, big news alert. That speculation that EA was going to be sold for $50 billion a couple days ago, well, it's not speculation anymore, and it's not 50 billion, it's 55 billion, and EA has been officially sold to PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners, so basically Saudi Arabia and Jared Kushner and other investors. So we have a lot to talk about. This has massive future implications for EA games. Real quick, if you enjoy Battlefield content, subscribe to the channel, be sure to leave a like, and thank you guys so much for all your support. We're grinding towards 100,000 subs. Battlefield 6 is just mere days away at this point, so very exciting times, but also potentially very concerning times with this news. I'll just reiterate, again, EA's been sold for $55 billion to PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners. The CEO of EA, Andrew Wilson, is staying on as acting CEO during this transitional period. He released some massive statement. It's a bunch of corporate jargon. Like, it's actually so bad that I'm not even going to read it in the video. It's basically like 5 corporate paragraphs about how they're going to push the boundaries of creativity and innovation, blah, blah, blah. So first off, obviously, when you hear news like this, you really don't want to go too far into either direction at first. It's completely out of our control, and time will tell how this will play out. However, the entire Battlefield community has been freaking out about this, potentially impacting Battlefield 6, and of course impacting future releases, and some people are of course in the full doomer camp saying it's completely over, you know, the Saudi government is taken over, Jared Kushner is gonna ruin everything. It's like, oh guys, please. If you guys saw the Reddit today, it was literally catastrophic as usual. My gut tells me right now that this buyout has potential to be extremely bad, particularly for the future of the franchise. I saw somewhere that this buyout doesn't kick in until Q1 of 2027, so Battlefield 6 should be just fine. I really don't think this will have any effect on the launch of Battlefield 6 or Battlefield 6 short-term events. It might not even have much of an impact as to Battlefield 6's long-term future. But when you take a look at just who bought EA, and then you take a look at some of the statements that have come out since this purchase was confirmed, it doesn't instill confidence. It really doesn't. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel like this is going to improve the state of EA games. This is coming from Battlefield Bulletin. According to a new report from the Financial Times, EA's new owners, PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners, will rely on AI as a way to reduce production cost and increase EA's profits in the coming years, with the stated goal of absorbing the colossal $20 billion debt associated with the acquisition. Bloomberg's reporter Jason Schreier claims this debt could mean mass layoffs, more aggressive monetization, and other big cost-cutting measures. And then the statement from Jason reads as follows: a lot of people are understandably focused on the Saudi Arabia and Kushner part of this, but the far bigger immediate impact will come from the new private EA being on the hook for $20 billion in debt. That could mean mass layoffs, more aggressive monetization, and other big cost-cutting measures. And this is, of course, where people are freaking out on this whole topic. Whenever you hear AI being mentioned up front as a tool they're going to use to reduce production costs and increase profits, you can almost always guarantee that slop and trash will follow. One of the most concerning pieces of this is, of course, the $20 billion debt that is associated with the acquisition of EA. That $20 billion has got to be reaccumulated somehow, and it could mean massive fundamental changes in some elements of games that we love. For instance, I could see a world where in the next Battlefield game after Battlefield 6, they go for super aggressive monetization, something like we see in Call of Duty. I could see a world where they put really aggressive skill-based matchmaking in Battlefield just to squeeze as much money as possible from every single person that bothers to buy an EA game. I could see them raising game prices. And then, of course, there's a lot more that goes into it that I'm going to cover later, but when it comes to the acquisition of EA right now, this is just something where time is going to tell, but the initial reaction is not great. hopefully it turns out to be just fine. As far as the commentary surrounding this, I'm not going to sit here and act like I have some sort of omniscient view of global business acquisition or anything like that. But I have seen a lot of people say, oh, you know, they went private, there's no shareholders, no strict oversight, people aren't breathing down their necks anymore. Well, I don't know, that sounds like cope to me, because the people that bought this, dude, we're talking, first of all, $20 billion of debt. They're going to want to make that back. And, of course, Jared Kushner, Saudi Arabia. They might just decide to juice the fuck out of every single franchise EA controls. This means, of course, FIFA, which dwarfs Battlefield in popularity and in the amount of money that it makes. It could easily mean more aggressive microtransactions and other things like SBMM added to certain games. I already mentioned that previously. But there's another element to this that I find very interesting just in the timing of this. So Battlefield 6, which is presumably going to be the first successful, truly successful Battlefield game in a very long time, ever since Battlefield 1, really. And then EA gets sold right before Battlefield 6 releases. This means, at least in my mind, with the way this timing looks, that the people that bought EA will take over control of EA after Battlefield 6's launch and the BR have already been out for a significant amount of time. This means that when these new owners take control of EA and they look at everything, Battlefield will be more important than ever and will be making more money than it has in a very long time. Particularly if the multiplayer really pops off and drives a bunch of attention, but potentially even bigger than the multiplayer success is the Battle Royale's success. If the Battle Royale pops off and we have a true sort of Warzone moment where the BR is that thing that everyone plays for a year period or so, and that is the thing that everyone is on, that's the main content in the FPS scene, we could be looking at a situation where Battlefield is bigger than it ever has been by orders of magnitude. And that really scares me because it means that there's going to be basically big eyes from the top on Battlefield and how they can squeeze as much money as possible from this franchise. Of course, I'm sure that was already going on, but man, I don't know. Just my initial thoughts on this is I am not very confident that this will go well. I am open to the possibility that it might go well, and I suppose we just have to see. If anybody else has maybe a more deep business-oriented, nuanced take from like a corporate perspective in the comment section, maybe you can just elaborate on that, and I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate that. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. Of course, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments section. Be sure to hit that sub button. Swing by a stream. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders and this YouTube channel. Battlefield 6 is right around the corner. Going to be a super hype release. I'm actually really excited for it, to spend the release time with you guys, with the chat, to see everybody's reaction. And I am crossing my fingers that after I'm done with my, initial Battlefield 6 stream, that I can make my Battlefield 6 first impressions video and just gush all over the game, honestly. Like, that would be great. I remember making my BF5 and 2042 first impressions videos shortly after I did my first stream, and let's just say I was not having a great outlook on things, so maybe this time will be different. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.